Okay, the next technique is fitness testing. The purpose of these tests is to give the coach a good indication of the player's individual strengths and weaknesses when it comes to their physicality. Once carried out, the purpose of these is to improve the weaknesses, if there are any present, in hope to improve the player's overall performance. These should be carried out pre, post and during season in order to show any improvements which may occur during the season. At the end of the season, the coach will then be able to easily spot these improvements by comparing the results that a player gets from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. Positive is that it will provide both the coach and the player with a good idea of the individual's current fitness levels, showing each of them which areas the player is strong in and which areas they need improvement on. This will allow the coach to be able to help the player improve on their weaknesses, which in theory will improve their overall performance. By consistently doing these tests, the coach can compare the results to easily see whether the player is making progress or not. Another positive will be that it will aid the player and the coach into setting smart targets and goals for the players to reach. By doing this at the beginning of the season, they can see the weaknesses the player may have and therefore can set a goal for the player to achieve, which will improve this weakness. For example, if their sprint speed was poor at the beginning of the season, they could then set a goal in order to improve the player's sprint speed throughout the season. Okay, the negatives is that there are only a limited amount of these tests the coach can carry out, meaning some of these tests may not be applicable to their specific sport. For example, a footballer might want to test their muscular endurance. The tests available for this will be the 1 minute sit-up and press-up test. Being a footballer requires high endurance in the legs, so these two tests may not be the most effective way of testing the endurance of the footballer because the players don't tend to use these muscles in a game as much as they would the ones in their legs. The other negative is that they would do all the tests on one day, so an exterior or interior factor could play a big part on their results. For example, interior factors like illness or lack of motivation can cause them to not put in as much effort or try as hard, meaning the scores they get will be lower. Exterior factors like the weather could worsen the grip on the floor and tests such as 30-metre sprints, which, for example, would slow down their time, resulting in a worse time. This could negatively affect the validity and reliability of the results gathered, which will provide an inaccurate set of results. Okay, lastly, effective demonstration. For a demonstration to be effective, it must be shown clearly and explained thoroughly. This will allow the players to fully understand what the coach is showing them and asking them to do. If they understand what they're being shown, then the transfer of skill will be much greater, meaning the players will be able to effectively incorporate the skills the coach is showing them into their game. This will result in a greater performance of the players. An example of this could be a coach demonstrating the team how to correctly perform a short pass in football. This could include the coaching points such as the feet positioning, which bit of the foot to hit the ball on and which bit of the ball to hit. If all of these are explained well and clearly, then the players should understand it well, meaning that they will take on board what they are being told and will be able to use it in their game. This will result in a greater performance from the individuals and their team. The positives of this is, if performed correctly, a positive of this would be that the skills being taught will be able to be quickly and effectively transferred across from the coach to the players. This means that the players will pick up what the coach is trying to teach them quickly, allowing them to be able to apply these new learned skills into their games. This will in theory lead to the individual's overall performance increasing and the performance of the team increasing as well. This will reduce the time that the skills are learned, allowing for more skills to be learned in a short period of time. Another positive is that the simple skills are being learned easily and quickly, which means the coach will be able to start teaching the players some more difficult and challenging skills, which will have a much greater impact on their game than the simple skills will. This will allow the coach to concentrate more on the complex skills as opposed to the simpler ones. This will increase the players' performance massively due to them learning more complex skills in short periods of time. Negatives of this is that it could be quite complicated for the coach to explain the skills to the players, so they need to come up with more than one way of explaining the skills. These skills will be taught to groups of people at a time, so the chances of all the players fully understanding the way in which the coach decides to explain it is quite low. So the coach must adapt to those who don't understand his coaching technique by coming up with new ways to teach or demonstrate it. This may be difficult or challenging for the coach to do. This could then increase the time in which it takes the players to develop the skills, meaning the rate in which the players will improve at will be stunted or slowed down slightly because more explaining will be required. Another negative could be that this technique may be more beneficial for experienced coaches who have a greater understanding of the sport. If you have an inexperienced coach, then they may not fully understand the skill themselves, meaning that they will be unable to teach it to others to learn. This will make it more confusing for those trying to learn. If the coach doesn't understand what they're trying to teach. This will increase the time it takes for the players to learn the skills, meaning the rate in which the players improve at will become slower due to incorrect coaching techniques. The most important role of an elite coach is being a manager. Being a manager is an extremely important role because of an elite coach, as it carries many jobs and tasks, some of which being able to work out schedules and arrange fixtures, arrange transport to fixtures, and allowing the players to focus on their performance and improving it. This will allow for maximal improvements to occur. This will also allow for everything to run smoothly, as the players will be less stress-free, which means it will have positive impacts on their health, which means the main focus will be to keep their health high, which means their performance will stay high as well. This isn't as important at a non-elite level as the demand isn't as intense and extreme, meaning if a training session gets cancelled or they don't have a way to the game, it's not the end of the world. The players are not as committed at this level and it isn't their full-time job. So most of them will have a job on the side, a family and other hobbies, meaning they don't always prioritise their sport over everything else. The most important role for a non-elite coach is being a motivator. At a non-elite level, it's very common that the players will have other things going on in their life which may come before sport. For example, like school, family, work and other hobbies may take the driver's seat in their life. This means the focus towards their sport may not be as high, which can likely lead to them not being as motivated to do well as they're just there for fun. This is why being a motivator is a key skill for a non-elite coach. They must be able to provide their team with enough motivation to want to turn up all the time and to play well. They must be able to want to improve and want to succeed. This will lead to a better individual performances and a better team performance. This isn't as important at an elite level, as the players will already be motivated enough, as they'll be able to find their own sources of motivation. For example, Cristiano Ronaldo, he has a found motivation source of just wanting to be the best player. So he wants to be the best player ever, so he'll always put in 100% effort on and off the pitch in order to reach the goal of becoming the best. It is also their full-time job, so they know if they don't perform at their best, then their job could be at stake, which is their financial income. So this means there is much more riding on elite players to perform well as non-elite players. The most important responsibility of an elite coach will be professional conduct. Having professional conduct is a very important responsibility at an elite level because this is their full-time job, so if they don't act professional, they'll be risking their source of income. Also at this level, especially in sports like football, they are very well known and have many people looking up to them as inspiration and role models, so if they don't keep up this professional standard, then their fan base will begin to deteriorate, meaning the following for the club may go down, which again comes back to their job being at stake. So they must keep this professional conduct high for both their own job and the reputation for the club that they're working for. This isn't as important at a non-elite level as the coaches won't be as well known, so if they do something unprofessional, not many people, if anyone, will hear about it, so it won't come back to bite them if they do it. Also, it won't be their full-time job, so there is less pressure for them to remain professional because they know that their job won't be at stake if they do something deemed as unprofessional whilst coaching, as it isn't linked with their job. The most important responsibility for a non-elite coach is equal opportunity.